Bergen, that was awesome. Let's give him a round of applause. How was it watching yourself on the video?
It's kind of surreal.
Yeah, it's like you're famous.
That was me. That was my team. That was really fun.
Yeah, that was great. Well, you guys did a great job, and we really appreciate you doing it. So I noticed Texas, right? You guys are in Texas. So first things first, this is very important. There's a lot of sports teams in Texas.
Yeah, there are.
I have to know, who do you pull for? Who do you cheer for? You got a lot of options.
So my oldest daughter just started school at Auburn.
Okay.
War Eagle. I have actually shunned all of the Texas teams to follow the Auburn Tigers.
All right, so Auburn Tigers are college. Now let's go into pros. You have a lot of professional teams as well.
We do. I've always been a Mavs fan. Obviously, the Cowboys are God's team. That's why there was a hole.
You have a couple supporters. I want to point out only a couple, but you do have a couple.
It's fun. Anytime you just turn on the TV, there is some kind of pro team playing.
It's kind of nice, right?
Yes.
Mark Cuban, you've got him. He's a little crazy.
He's nuts.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what too. Well, we really appreciate you being up here today and spending a little time. I wish I could say I've never been to an urgent care. I told Simon, never been to a physical therapist, been to an urgent care a lot of times. Probably because, and my team can attest to this, I'm very cheap. And so I grew up in finance, got to save money, right?
See, it's not just me.
Yes, I am definitely, it's like good to be cheap. And so I definitely prefer, I try to avoid the emergency room.
Yes.
And if it's after hours, I can't get in to see a pediatrician with my kids. I mean, I'd like to go myself, they're nicer doctors. But I can't get in to have them seen, I'll go to the urgent care. So I have a little experience there as a patient.
Terrific.
But it seems like you have a blooming business, and I'm wondering what do you do to attract employees, to attract new physicians and providers?
Sure. So we actually don't use physicians. We use mid-levels.
Okay.
And in Texas, they need to be overseen by a physician. So we have a infrastructure behind the scenes to be able to oversee them and meet all the regulatory compliance. But we've created the ability for mid-levels that are appropriately trained to practice independently with a backstop, having a physician on the phone to be able to answer their questions. A lot of physician practices that use mid-levels, the mid-level is kind of a nurse plus.
Sure.
In our world, the mid-level is the practitioner. Mm-hmm. And we equip them, we have a formulary to help them be able to practice the things we want to have happen in our clinics and be able to transfer out the things we don't want to have happen in our clinics. Give them the ability to practice independently, and then we have a strong tie back into the education system. So we precept, which is part of the nurse practitioner degree, we train a lot of nurse practitioners in our clinics. They learn our process, they learn our systems, and then when they graduate, if we've already seen them, they've had a 6-month interview with us, and we can hire the best of those.
There you go, you've got this nice little farm breeding ground.
And kudos to the team for putting it together.
That's awesome. Talk a little bit about patients. So, you're attracting these providers, these mid-level providers to work. They're providing care for patients. It's different than other specialties where you're going to see return, visits, but for different episodes or incidences. Mm-hmm. So how do you measure the patient satisfaction knowing that you don't have this long-standing relationship like someone like Simon does as a physical therapist?
Sure. So because we don't follow people through chronic conditions, it's all day of episodic kind of care. We spend a lot of time making sure we touch those patients even as they leave. We text them saying, hey, thanks for coming, drop us a review. We originally had a system where they could give us a review in our own environment, and then if it was a good review, we'd go ahead and let them review us on Google. We've gone hands-free now. We text them the link to our Google reviews, and we actually have a patient advocate that monitors that. If there's something that's 3 stars or less, she's immediately on the phone to find out what happened. The other thing that happens is 72 hours after that patient was in our clinic, on their cell phone, they get a voicemail, their cell phone never rings, saying, thank you so much for coming in. We're just checking in to see how you're doing. And it's another touch point for us that gives us the ability to head off a bad experience because oftentimes if somebody's had a bad experience, they'll be like, oh my gosh, I now have a phone number that I can reach out to. Somebody texted me, I'm going to react to that. So it's not just making sure they have a good experience in the clinic, but keeping that touch point using the tools that we've got with you guys after the fact.
Nice. And do you find that people, if they've had a bad experience, they're more likely to share that, or less likely compared to people who have had a good experience?
I think people, based on the statistics of the reviews, people share many more good experiences than bad experiences.
Well, maybe it just means you guys are providing. I'm sure you're providing many more good experiences.
We do see the bad reviews. Part of what we've done is put a strategy in place to build a catalog of reviews, so the occasional 1-star doesn't kill us because we have 500 4 and 5 stars.
And how do you think those reviews have impacted the growth of your organization?
So when we started, we actually track, part of filling out your paperwork is to tell us how you heard about us, right? And we're a retailer, right? Healthcare just happens to be our product. So drive-by is our #1 source of patients. Word of mouth used to be our #2 source of patients. Internet is now our #2 source of patients. And when you Google us, those reviews and that positive feedback all drives our SEO, drives our SEM. We are #1 organic, #1 paid search in all of our markets. And those positive experiences, and we even respond to those experiences, all drive a big aspect of drawing patients in.
Well, it makes a lot of sense, because that's how, personalizing it. Whenever I want anything, that's what I think about is, let me Google it and see, where to go, where to eat,
Yes.
what doctor to see, where to go shopping,
Yes.
which hotel to stay at. It's all based on reviews. And so it's nice that you guys have been at the leading edge of that. Outside of that, what are other components of your recipe to success for growing your large group practice?
The team, without question, it is surrounding yourself with people that have an ownership mentality, that wake up every day worried about the business, thinking about what are we going to do today. Without our leadership team, myself and my business partner who co-founded the company, we could probably manage 2 clinics by ourselves, but with our clinical leadership team and our billing leadership team, that capacity has expanded dramatically. And I don't have to wake up every day with my hair on fire because I've got 5 other people that are worried about the business as much as I am. So the capacity to expand is really driven by the people you put around yourself.
And how do you find people like that?
It's hard. It's hard. It's a weeding out. If everybody told the truth in interviews, it would be easy, right?
Sure.
But
I'm actually kind of lazy, so.
Yeah. It's a process where we purposely look for people that have this ownership mentality and find reasons to give them opportunity. So we've created a hierarchy. In a clinic, you have your folks that show up every day, and everybody that works in a clinic is an hourly worker, right? But then if you really show that capacity to take more responsibility, we'll make you a lead front desk or a lead rad tech or a lead practitioner. Then you could be a lead over several clinics. Then you become a regional lead, and then you end up climbing the food chain. So we have to provide the ability for people to take more responsibility. They can't just, the people who really get it done, if all they saw was, I'm going to show up every day and just be a front desk person, at some point those people leave.
That's
because they know that they've got more capacity.
I think that's perfect. Creating that career path and that growth and letting people know. I mean, I didn't mention this earlier because I didn't want to, but I will now anyway. So when I started at AdvancedMD in 2006, I started as an intern in our finance organization. And so I've been able to, through a lot of obviously good fortune and great mentorships, but similar, being given more responsibility and more opportunity, I've been able to, this is my 15th role at the company in 13 years.
Wow.
And so I think creating that sort of environment and surrounding yourselves with people who want to be more, who want to contribute, it's a great story. And to your point, it makes your job easier.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how do you measure, when you think about your business, how do you measure your clinical, financial, and operational productivity within that business?
So I'm an MBA. I'm a finance person like you, and
cheap.
That's right. See,
Good.
It's not just me. It's all about the numbers for me, right? So obviously I have a huge appreciation for people and staff, but you can't fix it if you can't measure it. If you don't know things are going off the rails. So having productivity measures in place, the number one thing that drives our business is patients through the door, right? So if our marketing infrastructure can drive more patients through the door, and we can appropriately bill for all of the things that happen in the clinic, then I can optimize my revenue. So those are really super key metrics for us. Average collected dollars per visit and patient volume drive our entire infrastructure. So measuring those, being able to predict those. We're a very seasonal business. In Texas in summer, our volume's down 50%. In flu season, we're up 70%. So, but that's a cycle we can begin to predict when we have metrics, when we have a reporting system. Advanced Insight for us was game changing. Being able to customize the reports, being able to get data, that was what drove us originally onto the billing platform with AdvancedMD. Was our previous billing platform was opaque. I could not get data out of it. I'd have to run 7 spreadsheets and link them all together.
Link them all, VLOOKUPs.
It was brain damage. So the fact that we could get our numbers out and drive our average duration of a visit, 28 minutes. We can drive our total, capacity in the clinics. We can drive our average CPT codes. What are our top 10 CPT codes? What's our average collection per CPT? All by, financial class. That data is just what we use to get better.
I love it. I'm such a data guru, data person myself. We have an internal app, we call it Beat, and we monitor, all of our own business key metrics.
Yes.
To show it to you sometime, I think you'd really like it.
love
But
it.
no, the team's not available to be hired. They're amazing, but they're not available. So tell us a little bit more about what role technology plays in your growth strategy and how AdvancedMD helps you with it.
So technology is our secret weapon, right? We're a retailer that has brick and mortar and that wake up every day and serve patients that walk in because they got injured or sick. So it's a very personal business, and a lot of healthcare providers really underthink how you can use technology to either improve your efficiency and your cost structure or improve your customer experience. So we have designed a visit to use technology to make that visit easier. So when you check in with us, if you've been there before in the past 12 months, our permission to treat is annual.
Okay.
So all of a sudden your paperwork went from fill out that same crazy form that you did last week to show your ID, and has your insurance changed, Mrs. Henderson? No, it hasn't. Great, let's get you in the queue. So all the way through to how we bill it, the efficiency of being able to collect on it. That technology, we've purposely picked best of breed elements to use along the way, and a lot of those parts and pieces ended up falling into AdvancedMD because everything integrated so well, and that visit moves through the technology process where we can design the visit and the system matches rather than having to force a flow because the system forces you to do that. So that's been key to us, is design the best process and have the system match.
Very good. So it's your secret sauce.
Shh, don't tell anyone.
We won't share it with any, no one else will hear this, don't worry. I mean, we won't post it online either.
No, thanks.
Don't worry about it. Anyway, any parting thoughts or last pieces of advice you want to share?
I think one of the things that AdvancedMD has equipped and kind of taught us early on is the revenue cycle starts when the patient walks in the door. Most people think about, okay, now that we've seen the patient, billing starts. Billing starts when they walk in the door. And with AdvancedMD, we've dropped our days sales outstanding, which is kind of a metric of our AR, from about 31 days to we're running at about 11 days now.
Wow.
And it's a function of the text invoicing, being able to collect and estimate the total patient responsibility as they're leaving. All of these key functions really drive our business to outperform, and the system is a fundamental part of that.
Last question, are you an annual pass holder?
I am not, because I live in Dallas, and...
Well, I know, but you could commute.
No, negative Ghost Rider, the pattern is full.
Disneyland's better anyway, so. Birkin, thank you so much for your time. Let's give it up for Birkin. Thank you so much.